Okay. So as I said, welcome everyone to the info webinar. This is the agenda of today. My name is Alexander. I'll be the first one presenting Reach Incubator. Worthwhile saying is, please add the name of your organization to the Zoom list. Please post the questions that you may have in the chat, and I ask everyone to refrain from answering the questions until we get to this Q&A at the end, in order to go one by one and not simply go to the chat and make it slightly messy. So let's do this. So as we go along and feel like we have a question, the chat is at your disposal. So this is the agenda. I'll be presenting Reach as a project. Then Nyaki will be presenting the open call. We have David Manfred from Reach Toolbox, and I did notice that I have not given David the co-host option. So please, my colleague, do give him the track. As well as Beryl from Jot. Oh, sorry, it's not Jot. This is my mistake. From a data provider in Reach, who will also be presenting their challenges, and who stay for this to hear what the corporate is, one of the corporates is looking for, and their data sets and their experience from previous rounds. We also have Oscar, a winner of Open Call 1, who is with us here, who will also tell you his experience. And at the end, we'll conclude with Q&A, and we hope to close in an hour and a half. This is where we're going to cap it. So, yeah, with this in mind, let's begin. So, story behind Reach Incubator. In the recent years, maybe it has been more 5 or 10 years, EU and European Commission has been pushing towards the greater data access, sharing, security, and use of AI and ML in order to establish this environment of trust within the ecosystem. To do so, there has been emergence of this concept called data value chains, and the use of it towards large-scale deployment of database products and services. To facilitate all of this, there has been the need for holistic support for data-driven innovation experiments and secure and privacy-aware analytic solutions. And from this, Reach Incubator, its sister projects and its previous new funded data-oriented projects emerged. So, what is a data value chain? Data value chain represents a multi-stakeholder data workflow where by applying data analytics, both data and the solution providers reciprocally benefit through joint exploitation model. About Reach, so we're a second generation big data incubator building on the successful efforts of EDI, which closed several years ago and has supported around 100 data incubators. So we're leveraging a similar methodology, but this time we brought in addition to the data corporates, digital innovation hubs, and we have built on this data value chain concept in order to establish this collaboration based on industrial and private data. Over the period of 3 years, we have the aim to select, incubate, and coach 100 data-driven SMEs and startups through 3 innovation incubation programs. We currently are closing the second one, and this is the open call for the third one. So in total, we'll be distributing around 3.5 million. So this time around, a third of it will go to the selected startups, and which will be up to 120,000 euros per organization. This is the consortium of partners that is running this program. There are 10 of us, plus the data providers and digital innovation hubs, and we're all very skilled in particular aspects of the program, which makes us very, very qualified to provide you this necessary support and run this program. So what are the benefits for startups? up to 120,000 euros in equity pre-funding. The word is up to because of the cascade funding approach and the phases that the incubation program entails, but more about it later. Access to large corporations and their data sets that have joined the program. Each Toolbox is a set of software and tools aimed to support you with building data-driven and data value chains, data-driven solutions. We provide access to private investment and support you with this. We provide digital and business training and mentorship throughout the 11-month program. Big data infrastructure necessary alongside with the Toolbox, as well as the access and visibility that can provide you support with commercialization, access to events, and overall visibility in the ecosystem. So the 3 ways to apply: team-driven. This is from the Digital Innovation Hubs of Europe that we have brought on board, that have set up their own challenges from the industries that they focus on. We have ready-made coming from the data providers or corporations, SMEs that have shared the data and their business challenges that they are facing for you guys to solve. And the free choice, which means bringing on board your own partner, a corporation or an SME, who is willing again to share the data and the challenges with you, and therefore establish this partnership around data. So, but more about this later in Yaki's presentation. The incubation pipeline, as I said, this is a cascade funding project, and the cascade funding means that we have phases. So we will run the program until it would be open call until sometime in February. I think it's the 21st, where you will be submitting your applications. We will have 1 month to evaluate your applications, and this is impartially done by external evaluators who have been subcontracted to provide with their expertise relative to data and business, and select the top startup who will participate. Now, this is slightly an outdated photo, so there will be a little more than 30 teams this time. Maybe 35 or somewhere between 35 and 40. We'll see depending on multiple things. But at this time, around 35 startups would enter for 2 months, where you will take the initial idea proposed in the application further. You will receive a bit of training, and you will come to Paris in May to present this to us and compete to enter in the experiment phase. In the experiment phase, we select 10 teams that will go for 4 months, receive 80K to develop the product, to work very close with their data providers, to test it, experiment with it, and take it further. After that, and in correlation with the experiment phase goes the expose phase, which is simply looking for investment and the phase oriented that. However, this phase is the same 10 teams will be partaking in this phase. However, there's no funding. But I must say, I said in parallel with this. However, this goes after this. However, the 5 teams that go into the evolve phase will receive additional 15K and will attend European events, data-oriented, startup-oriented, investment-oriented, where you will look to launch your product, to commercialize it further, to seek investment. This is the 4 phases that we're running. At the end of evolve phase, which coincides with the expose, we will hold an event in Slush, probably. We'll sit to agree, but it will probably be a Slush where the best solution will receive a 20K amounting in total to 120,000. Additionally, what I failed to mention was at the experiment stage, there'll be meetings in Bilbao in Spain, once or twice, I think. So in general, this program is mostly online with between 2 and 4 meetings happen throughout the months, where we meet for 1 or 2 days in a particular interesting city, and we either compete or we develop or we take it further. So yeah, these are the data providers that have joined us. You have their challenges and data sets on the website, and the data catalog that is associated with the website. And here are the digital innovation hubs with the same approach. So this is track 1, this is track 2, and the track 3 is you bringing your own providers. So the challenges and themes that we are currently covering with the track 1 and track 2 are the following, but we are not constrained with these. If you want to find a sector that is beyond this, as long as it tackles data and data value chains, please feel free to apply and bring on board yet another industry that is of your interest. So important dates, as I said, 21st of February is the time to apply, but I strongly recommend you don't wait until the last minute. It is not unlikely that you might want to, for example, reopen the application as you were inspired or for any other reason. Therefore, let's not wait for the last minute, because it will be much harder to support you in the last day if everyone says, oh, look, I need help with this or I need help with that. So please apply a little earlier, and do not be stressed out by the deadline, but rather approach it with free mind, and just remind and develop your application from now until the deadline. It's very much important, because you will see in the open call presentation of my colleague Iñaki, the application is demanding, and this is a competitive call, and in order to do so, it's very important to take your time and do it properly. So this is the newsletter. I do invite you to sign up to this newsletter, as we'll be releasing various interesting things, overviewing the project and our activities, and provides you additional tips and tricks and intelligence coming from our ecosystem that might help you, as well help you stay in touch with what's going on in the European data value chain ecosystem. So I hope someone has scanned this and has signed up. So as I said, Oscar from round 1 will be joining us. This is from Slush, a beautiful woman, was awarded in addition to the 20K, which I hope he loves it as much as the 20K. And this was also at one of the events. So we'll be hearing from him a bit later. So our final aim is to demonstrate that data silos, which is a common thing where people convert silos from one another, can be broken by enabling a multi-stakeholder cross-sectorial collaboration to boost data-fueled sustainable solutions. So, and this is a bit of on our ecosystem, which we hope to facilitate. So, please follow us if you have not done so already. There are 2 emails, but the open call email, the open call at incubator.eu, is the one that is there for you to ask any questions, and we will be looking to answer them in 1 or 2 days' time, depending on the amount of emails that come in. So yeah, with this in mind, I am inviting Iñaki to take this further and present to us the open call and all little things about it.
Hi, Alec. I will be presenting the the application
I'm
process.
sorry. So later will be, later Iñaki's colleague will be presenting it, but you're in safe hands. So later, please take it away.
Thank you. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes, sure.
Perfect. Okay, so thank you, Alec. Okay, so welcome everyone to this second info webinar of the third open call. My name is Leiran Sorena from Zavala Innovation, and I'm the open call manager of the REACH project. And I will be presenting today with my colleague Iñaki the open call process, the application process, and how to apply. Okay, first of all, let's begin with a brief overview of the topics we will be covering during the presentation, which contains all the relevant information that you must consider when you start your application process. The submission of the proposal, how is the process you must follow, then the eligibility rules, and then we will go through the evaluation process. Okay, the submission. The first step here is very simple, but is essential. The first step is to read the guidelines for applicants, where all the necessary information about the project call is described. As a novelty this time for this call, we have included some ethical guidelines, okay, so that applications comply with all the ethics and the issues defined by the European Commission. Then there is also a frequent asked questions section that contains more specific answers to those questions that have been raised during these 2 years of project. Okay, these documents are available in our website. You have also here the links, okay? And later on we will share with all of you this presentation. Of course, we are open to solve any doubt you may have, and we have also this mailbox. But please, first of all, read the guidelines carefully, because we usually find that we have questions that are very linked with what is described here in the guidelines. Okay, so if you read it carefully, it's very easy to get the answers, and you don't have to wait to our answer through the official email. Okay, once you have read the guidelines and the frequent asked questions, the second step is to choose a track, as Alec has already explained. We have 3 ways to participate, all of them available in the REACH website. Okay, the first one is the theme-driven track 1, and what we have here in theme-driven, the consortium has collaborated with 6 digital innovation hubs, and that we have by this time on board in the project, to define some cross-sectorial data value chains to be tackled by the participants, and so on. Each of these challenges, okay, contains several sub-challenges to be solved. Then in the ready-made option, which is track 2, what we have here, okay, we have defined some challenges with our data providers according to the specific needs that they have detected in their markets. Okay, and then we have the free choice option, track 3. And then under this option, we give you the chance to participate, okay, together with your own data provider. This is mandatory. If you apply to this track, you must at least come with one data provider, okay? And you will jointly propose a novel challenge regarding the data value chain to be solved. Okay, so what happens if I have selected theme-driven option, track 1? The first thing is to choose the data value chain theme, and then a challenge with this theme. You must, you have here in the REACH website a description of all the themes which are available for this third open call. We have also provided you with some data sets that you have to use to address these challenges, and they are available in our data catalog. And even you have the opportunity to use data sets you bring. Okay, these data sets can be data sets you own, can be data sets bringing your own data provider, or you can even use open data. Here it's very important that it's not always necessary to use a combination of data sets, okay, to demonstrate these data value chains in the experimentation, but we want to give you this option. Okay, and another important thing is that 40% of applications will be coming from this track, from track 1. Then for the second track, the ready-made option, the first thing is that you have to do is to select this challenge, okay, from the rich data catalog. These challenges are identified under the ready-made track, and they are available in the following link. As you will see, all these challenges are specific, so please don't get out of these challenges, because the data providers are interested in solving these challenges and solutions of technology that solve the problems they have in their companies or technology centers and so on. So the use of different sectors or files to create these cross-sectorial data value chains is encouraged too, okay, as in track 1. And in particular, you are encouraged to combine these data sets available in the data catalog with your own data and sectors. In addition, you will be having access of these data sets only if you are selected and if you enter the incubation. Okay, and at this stage, we are only giving you access to simple data, but not to the full data sets. Here, 40% again will be coming from this track. And then the last way of participation is the free choice track. Here we don't have predefined anything. You are encouraged to define novel DVCs, okay, and novel challenges, bringing your own data provider. Here it's important to apply with your own data provider, okay, and to have the commitment of this data provider. An important thing also is that the data provider must be the owner of the data, because if you apply to this track together with the application form, it will be necessary to complete a form for the data provider where they answer some questions about the property of the data, the GDPR, and so on. So applicants here in this track are encouraged to combine the data set from different sectors. So you can use data sets provided by the data provider you are bringing. You can also use data sets available in our rich data catalog, or you can even use open data, okay, external data sets. But please, here, as I said, it's very important that the applicant has the access in processing the rights, okay, to the data in compliance with the data protection regulations and so on. It's very important that you have the permissions to include them in a solution, in a commercial solution. Here in track 3, free choice, 20% of the applications will be selected. Okay, so what happens if I bring my own data provider? This is an option that we have in track 1 and track 3. First thing is to register the data provider in the application form. As I said before, there is a specific form for the data provider, which is linked to the application form for the small and medium enterprises. Okay? So it's very important to take into account that during the months of February, March, which is when the evaluation is going to be conducted, the data provider has to sign a memorandum of understanding. And then if the startup progresses and enters the incubation, the data provider is committing to participate in some meetings and events. Okay, then once you have read the guidelines, check the frequent asked questions and select the way to apply, what is next? The next thing is to submit the proposal. For that, you should go to the FC6 platform and complete the information of the proposal. Important, the submission of the proposal has to be done before 21st of February. So please remember that date. So, okay, then once you have read the guidelines and the questions, you apply, you submit your proposal. And here we have a summary with some considerations to take into account. Okay, for the tendering category, we are expecting to have a minimum of 40% of the proposals. The same happens with the ready-made option, the track 2. And then for the free choice option, we will select 20% of the proposals. As we have been highlighting, we are giving a lot of value to cross-sectorial experiments. So to prioritize these DVCs, these data value chains, we expect that at least 40% of the selected proposals have to combine these data sets from at least 2 different sectors. Okay, the proposal preparation. So what is this about? There are 3 main points that we have to consider. We have an online form, okay, that needs to be submitted through the FC6 platform. It is short, but we need you to take some time to duly complete it. For that, it's necessary that you register your company in the platform if you have not done it yet, and go through the different sections. In the application form, you will see that there are some sections. There is a section for the challenge. There is also a section for the technical proposal. And within this section, and we have another section for the business strategy and business market growth and so on. And within this section, we have an Excel file where we are asking you information about the company and some financial documents. It's mandatory to upload and complete this Excel, okay? And as I said, upload it again in the platform, because we have to consider these financial documents and to review it, okay? So if you don't submit this form, you will not be eligible to enter the incubation. Okay, and last, there is also a section for the team where you will be given and you will have the opportunity to present the people you have behind the proposal and in your teams. Okay, then there is a declaration of honor. It's easily completed in the application form, and in this declaration, you are basically saying and declaring that you fulfill the criteria to participate, and you declare that your company is a small or medium enterprise or a startup. And the third thing that is only applicable when you are bringing your own data providers. Okay, so it's applicable for track 1 and track 3. It's mandatory to complete the data provider description that I said before. Okay, the eligibility. I'm eligible to participate. So what this means? Being eligible means that you can be legally selected to be part of the incubation program. You may have a great technical proposal, but if you don't comply with the rules of the eligibility criteria, we will not be able to fund you. Sorry. So it's very important, okay, to understand this criteria and to make sure that you comply with the rules. Which are those criteria? First thing, proposals must be submitted in English. This is the official language of the European Commission, and there is no other option. Secondly, this is a program to address startups and small and medium enterprises. So we cannot fund individuals or large companies. The third thing, these companies need to be established in eligible countries in Europe, being them the member states of the European Union, the overseas countries and territories, and some Horizon 2020 countries. Okay, the UK is also eligible. Okay, despite the Brexit and everything, they are eligible. And also in the guidelines for applicants, we include some links where you can check your eligibility regarding the establishment of your country or your company. Sorry. Okay, we are also looking to for original work and innovative ones, so please do not copy. And it's also important to use datasets in our data catalog. Okay, it's mandatory. But as I said before, you are also encouraged to use open data and external data. Another thing, another important issue is that there is a sibling project, the U4Trust project, and we will need to double check with them if the proposals have not been funded by them, because if not, it's not possible to apply to this program. Okay, another important thing is that it's not possible to have multiple submissions from the same company, so only one proposal per applicant will be evaluated. In that case is that we have multiple submissions, only the last proposal submitted in the F6S platform will be evaluated. Okay, and then important, please fill the proposal with valid and real information, because later on we will verify that all the documents and information stated in the proposal is real, and we will ask you for supporting documents. Okay, in the evaluation, the first thing we do with the proposals is to check the eligibility, and only those proposals that are eligible will enter the evaluation process. Then attraction indicators control is conducted. So based on the answers given in the application, we automatically sort the proposals following our internal red flags. These red flags are not public, okay? They will be public after the closure of this third open call. And these flags are set according to the applicant profile, and depending on if you are an early stage or established company, they will be different. Okay, once we have selected the proposals that are eligible and the traction control is done, we proceed with the remote evaluation. For this process, we have selected some external evaluators, as Alec have said before, to make the process more transparent and comply with the European Commission rules and so on. So they are experts in big data tools, okay, for the technical part, and we have also experts in business and business ideas, business strategy, and so on. So here you see the scores given to each of the criteria to be assessed. It's mandatory to have at least 3 points on each criteria, okay, and at least 12 out of 15 points in total. The opinion of the data provider will be also taken into account. With their opinion, we can see if the proposal fits or not with the challenge they are proposing. Okay, so it will be important also to have their opinion and so on. Okay, later on, you as startups will be working with them, okay, in the development of the solutions and maybe establish a future commercial relationships. So it's why it's important to have their opinion. Okay, then the final step of the evaluation, okay, there will be a ranking list with 50 proposals this time, we're around 35 or maybe 38. We don't know yet. Okay, of them will be selected, and 15 or more or less will be in a reserve list. All of you will receive an evaluation summary report, of course, with the results, and we will try to give you some feedback, okay, and some recommendations if you will not be selected. Important here is that we will be using the email that you provided in the proposal, the contact person, okay, you indicate. So please make sure that that person checks the inbox regularly. Okay, and this is the open call timeline. First of all, in February, the deadline for the submission of proposal, 21st February at 5 p.m. Okay. Then during March, we will do the communication of results. And between March and April, we will work on the preparation of the sub-grant agreements with these selected startups. And finally, at the beginning of April, the REACH Explore kickoff will take place. That's all from my side. So applications are now open. You can apply. Here we have the link. And if you have any doubt, please contact us through the open call inbox, and we will try to answer you. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Leila. So I invite David Manset to present to us the REACH Toolbox. David, are you here?
Yes, I am. Can you hear?
Do you have access to? Okay, I'm making you co-host right now. There you go.
All right. You should be able to see my screen now.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Alexander. Good morning, everyone. So I'm David Manset. I'm representing one of the partners contributing to the REACH Digital Incubator, namely Gnubila, which is now BeWise Research. So I'll be talking about the REACH Toolbox. That is a set of tools made available to the startups to help them with handling compelling issues with compliance, but also helping take aboard new technologies. So a set of tools that are namely embracing the issues of privacy, data governance, and data sharing and auditing. So as you can see on the screen, there is a set of partners, namely BeWise Research, CEA, and CERT, that are providing Miser from BeWise Research, which is a tool providing you with anonymization, pseudonymization of personal data, and from CEA. In the data governance and smart contracts, you will find CEA contribution with multi-agent experimenter and Y3. And finally, in trusted data sharing and auditing, you will find a little more about the blockchain. So BeWise Research provides you with Pro Register, which is a GDPR registry, basically with smart contracts for individual rights application of their personal data. And then free tools from CERT, BAS, data sharing platform, and audit messages storage tool. So the point is to help you with addressing, I would say, non-functional issues. So why would you use such a toolbox? What we're trying to help you with is GDPR compliance, as you may be handling personal data. So you will find the tools for privacy by design and by default in the toolbox. These tools are based on state-of-the-art technologies and approaches. So you will discover tools that are leveraging on the blockchain and other very interesting technologies. And for each of the tools, you can receive professional support from the partners in charge. Please note that the usage, integration, the test of the tools is part of your assessment in the incubation process. How can you use these tools? So basically, the tools have been developed as standard as possible with RESTful web services and APIs. They are compatible for some of them with identification and authorization management standards. If not, they are provided as standalone Dockerized instances that you can freely install on your computer and play with. There is a full online documentation, which you can find the URL of down at the bottom of this slide. It is repeated throughout the presentation. You will find there all of the description material for the different tools, but also all the processes for getting access. All of the tools can be provided with demo accesses, and then we can provide you with personalized accesses should you want to integrate these tools into your own solutions. And of course, feel free to ask for any support on the tools. Just to give you a glimpse on the tools, so what are those provided by Gnubila, alias BWise Research? So we have two solutions. One is Anonymizer. This is a 15 years old solution that we've been developing from research to now industry, and that is helping you with anonymization, pseudonymization. So it provides you with a web service with a set of rules to alter data, so to conform to the processing purpose for your personal data processing. The tool comes with a set of graphical user interfaces in order to help you with finding out the sensitivity of your data and helping you with selecting the right data operators to modify the data accordingly. The second tool we provide is ProRegister. It is a blockchain-enabled GDPR registry. So we use the blockchain as a registry where you can trace basically all of the data sets available and the processing and accesses to those data sets from external third parties. The tool provides you with as well on-demand audit trails, so you can export report on the data usages that have been witnessed in the system. Just to go quick into Anonymizer, which is by far, I think, the most mature solution that can be of use for you in respect to GDPR matters. So Anonymizer is a smart data masking solution. It provides you with the means to identify sensitive data. So we use artificial intelligence to classify data according to an ontology of 19 classes. So this helps you with understanding the nature of data. And then according to our findings with the AI, we then help you with the process of defining data operators to modify the data, basically to anonymize or pseudonymize. In terms of data masking, so we provide 44 algorithms, which are split in 9 approaches to alter data. And this is standardized into an engine, and the engine can process different types of data from regular PDF files to database exports like CSV or XLS to inter-application communications like JSON or XML, but also DICOM images should you handle medical imaging. The tool also makes it possible to define a data protection policy and to enforce that policy by replicating it throughout the various instances of the service, should you want to deploy this in a larger organization. In practice, this helps with producing meaningful data sets for statistical analysis and service product improvement. You can also use it for secondary use of data should you anonymize purely the data. We also use it a lot for providing good quality data for research purposes and for product validation before production. I will skip this part. The second one, ProRegister, legal blockchain. So it's a simplified blockchain that you can use through a standard web service to trace basically all of your data, all of the accesses and all of the processing. The way it's been developed is such that the ledger, the register, is anonymous. So we only use cryptographic fingerprints of the data and processing, so not to compromise anyone in the ledger. And this helps then you with extracting reports on the data and accesses. So to conclude with the Toolbox, we are free partners contributing tools from which you will find all of the support needed to access, use, play with, or integrate the tools. So namely CEA, CERT, and BWise Research, formerly Gnubila. So feel free to have a look at the tools, to send us any questions you may have, and to ask for support should you want to use the tools. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, David. This is very insightful. So moving on to our data provider, I invite Beryl to share screen and present your challenges and your experience from previous rounds.
I'm sharing my screen now. Okay.
We can see it, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Welcome everyone, and thank you, Alexander, for this opportunity. My name is Birol Yüceoğlu, and today I'll be representing Migros and presenting our challenges. Migros is one of the largest FMCG retailers in Turkey. We have more than 2,900 stores. We have several brands. We have an online sales channel. We have a fast delivery service, a food delivery service, and several subsidiaries, like including payment services and media data providing. So it's a huge operation with more than 40,000 employees, more than 3,000 suppliers, and as I said, close to 3,000 stores. We operate several different types of stores, including Migros stores and upper class, like upscale store, automated vending machines, smaller stores in petrol stations, and we even have a cashierless store in our headquarters. Today, I'll be presenting the 3 challenges we defined for this cohort of the REACH project. The first one is data-driven stockout prediction. The second one is demand prediction for replenishment. And the third challenge will be product detection from images. Stockout is a huge problem in retail. It's estimated that retailers lose 4% of their yearly revenue due to stockouts. Furthermore, between 20 to 40% of the customers will go to another store when they encounter stockouts. And it is one of the most common drivers of customer churns in retail. Even though with all the advances in data and data analytics, the average stockout rate is still 8% across the retailers. So in this project, we would like you to come up with a solution that will detect stockouts using only data. We will provide sales data, inventory movements, inventory data, and other types of product level data sets. And we would like you to come up with a solution that will detect stockouts. If you also happen to have some measures that will prevent or predict stockouts, that will also be nice for us. The second challenge is demand prediction for replenishment. Again, this is one of the most basic problems in retailing. Retailers spend 1% of their revenues for automated replenishment systems. However, 72% of stockouts occur due to faulty replenishment orders. Faulty replenishment orders may be because of incorrect inventory records, but also bad demand predictions. So in this challenge, we will provide a store and SKU levels data set, and we would like you to come up with an accurate and scalable demand prediction algorithm. Note that we have 3,000 almost 3,000 stores and more than 10,000 SKUs. So in this problem can get huge, can be of huge scale for us. And the objective in this project is to come up with replenishment decisions. So any work on the replenishment part will also be appreciated. And the third challenge we defined for this cohort is product detection from images. As I said, we have a cashierless store in our headquarters. We are also starting to operate self-service vending machines like the one in the picture. You scan a barcode, the door opens, then you pick up the products that you want, and when you close the door, your bill is deducted from your credit card. In this challenge, we would like you to come up with a product detection algorithm. As you see in this video, a customer can pick up some products, can put them back in the fridge. So it's a huge, it's a very complicated problem. But we are going to start with the product detection part, so it will be one step towards the execution. The objective is to be able to detect products that are being taken from the fridges that I mentioned. But furthermore, we also want a model that is able to run on Jetson Nano. So we want, when we scale this operation, we will select Jetson Nanos to run the algorithms because of the cost issues. So the model should be able to run on that Jetson Nano, which I also share the product specifications in the challenge description in the website. So I thank you for listening to me, and I would also like to briefly mention about our experience in the REACH project. It has been mixed so far because in the first year we had the pandemic, and we had some good collaboration, but it was not very close due to pandemics. And in the second year, we didn't have any teams that entered the second stage. So for this year, we are looking forward to have more than one team in terms of collaboration. And as a small recommendation, I can maybe recommend to you to read the challenge descriptions well, because that was the issue we encountered last year. The challenges, the solutions did not really fit the challenge. So I think that's all from me.
Thank you, Birol.
Next, Alex, but
thanks. Please stay in for if any questions come your way. So if anyone's interested, you can either post it in the chat or refer to the open call email later, and we'll put you in contact with Beryl as well. So with this in mind, moving on to the final thing before the Q&A, and that is Oscar from round 1 as the winner. So Oscar, take it away.
Hello everyone, so my name is Oscar and we are the winners of round 1, the proud winners. We're a cropped startup from Novi Sad, Serbia that develops AI solutions for agriculture of the future. I'm calling here from my kitchen, and that's where the ideas get cooked, and one of the ideas was recognized by the Reach incubator as a good one. So I'm very proud of this, and in the next couple of minutes I will briefly say what is our experience with the project. So this is how it all started. I was a junior researcher at Biosense Institute, and then my mentor, Professor Vladimir, came up and he said, well, there is this Syngenta crop challenge. Do you want to participate? And I had tons of things to do, so I was like, too busy now, I can't do it. And then he said, well, you know, there is a prize involved, and it's a financial prize, and I'll double it if you win it. So it's like, now we're talking. So we formed a team and we started doing the research. You know, this is a very scientific setup with a few very smart people. And the problem that we analyzed is this one. So it is what to plant where. And it's an extremely complex problem because you need to improve the profits, you need to improve climate resilience, to reduce the ecological footprint. And there are tons and tons of different combinations. So let's say on one field, you can plant 5 different crops. On 2 fields, it's 5 times 5 different combinations. What can you plant where? And for 14 fields, the number of combinations, what to plant where, is equal to the number of humans. And for 117 fields, which is not that many, even in Serbia, there are farmers with more than 100 fields. The number of combinations of what to plant where is equal to the number of atoms in the universe. And you're probably wondering how people do it now. And this is exactly how they do it. They rely on their knowledge, on their neighbors' advice, on their grandfather's textbooks, and they really miss out on a huge opportunity to earn more and to be less risky. So we employed big data analytics here. That's one thing. The second thing is that we needed to find the right trade-off between profit and risk, because, you know, you can be very profitable, but again, you can lose everything, which is like the Las Vegas strategy. And on the other hand, you can be very, very safe, but you'll still end up earning peanuts. So we developed a recommendation algorithm that tells you exactly what to plant, what crop to plant, what hybrid, in what percentage. And now the farmers are actually the wolves of Wall Street, because now the farmer can choose the amounts of risk he or she is willing to take, and we can give them the right recommendation for that amount of risk. So unfortunately, we didn't get any prize. It was in 2016, so 2 times 0 is still 0. And we came 4th, but the good thing was that MIT came 5th, and that gave us a big boost in morale to keep on doing that. And in 2017, we won the first prize. Next, based on that, we won again Inspired Challenge, which was funded by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to try to replicate that in Africa. And then we realized that this has got huge commercial potential. So we decided to take this out of academia and form a spin-off from Biosense Institute. We then got a project with the Serbian Innovation Fund to kickstart the development, because one thing is what is published in a journal article, in a scientific conference, etc. And the other thing is to make something that actually works. So this was back then, and there was a lot of people think, you know, when I'm telling this story, people think that it was quite easy and linear, whereas the road, it was a long and winding road, I must admit. So, for example, from B2C business model, where we thought that we're going to serve every farmer on that, we switched to B2B business model because it's way more realistic and feasible. And I would say that Reach Incubator was really a turning point in our development in the history of our startup. So we applied early in 2021, and the main reason was probably funding, because we were almost broke. The first project with the Serbian Innovation Funds was coming to an end, And we were really looking for an opportunity just to extend the lifetime of our startup. So we were like, okay, let's try this. And if this works, we're going to play for at least another year. And if it fails, we're going to lock up the startup and forget all about it. But funding was not the only reason why we applied, because one thing is visibility. So it really allows you to participate in worldly recognized, globally recognized conferences. It allows you to, have your startup name and your name all around the press and social media. It connects you to really serious mentors, business mentors, technical mentors. And well, what I think distinguishes Reach from other incubators and accelerators is that it puts you in touch with the end user, with the company, which is your future customer. So we applied for the track 3, where we had a free choice of the partner. So we brought Delta, which is the largest agriculture company in Serbia and probably in this part of Balkans, the ex-Yugoslav part of the Balkans. And we teamed up with them, and they were a very valuable partner because they gave us the data, a lot of advice and that. So regarding the application, what we are usually using is kind of a semaphore approach, where we just write down the questions, and they're initially red, and when we start filling them up, they're yellow, and then when we finish them, they turn green. And it allows us to collaborate, to do it in a collaborative way, because there are technical people that can reply to technical questions, then there are business people that are handsy with go-to-market strategy and these things. And it really paid off. And one more thing with the proposals, whether it's like business plans for the partners, for the industry, or like public grants or accelerators, is that good artists copy, great artists steal. So we could steal some parts of the text that we had, that we wrote for some applications, for blog posts, for business plans, for the industry, but none of them were actually successful prior to Reach. So that's where we kind of perfected them. And to mention another important thing, within the Reach program, we managed to develop a really serious business plan that covers both technical and business aspects and the value for the customer. And it kind of managed to let's say, to converge to something, because, I've got a technical background, and us and engineers have a tendency to invent problems for the solutions that we have. And it's supposed to be the other way around. And that's why it's important to have an industrial partner here, because they're going to come up with the problems which you can solve using your technology. So this is an illustration of what we did, a few visuals as well, just to make ourselves clear what we're going to do. Then there is the data that we got from Delta, which is extremely valuable because there is no big data analytics unless you've got big data. And we had this end user, and they plan to scale up to other countries in the region, and also in Italy, in Western Europe, in America. So there is really a roadmap for long-term relationship with Delta. One of the things that I would advise you to do, this is probably the best investment that we ever made, is to invest a few €100 and to level up your presentation, because this is, as far as my artistic sense goes, so you can see this is kind of green, which is agricultural, and white, so to make it clear. But when Crapper came up, we switched from this to this kind of design. So we took a few friends, went out to the field. This is my friend Nemanja, who is a tennis coach, and he looks good there, and it looks good on the landing page, and we have a great website, I believe. So Delta is, as I said, one of the biggest companies, and what Reach allowed us to do is to develop a recommendation system for Delta, which is tailored to their soybean varieties, and it allows them to really see what's happening with the yields, to predict the yields, and then to analyze the risks, etc. And within Reach, we managed to crunch this data to get the yield maps, and to analyze the risk, and somewhere in the project, this kind of appeared as another business case. So not just to produce the results for seed companies and agriculture companies, but also for fintech companies. And, you know, I can bore you to death with technical things, but what my point is here, that within Reach, something which was like a concept, an idea, something published in a paper, really turned out to be implemented on a server. And, you know, when you click it, it works. And there's a long way between the two. So now we can issue something like yield potential maps. We can monitor the yields and update the yield prediction every couple of weeks. We can also assess the risk of hail, the risk of droughts, different kinds of risks. And we can recommend the varieties to the farmer to increase the farmer's profits and decrease the risk. Regarding business development, you know, I'm actually coming from a technical background, and this was kind of boring for me, you know, writing, okay, so what is the pain, what is the gain, what are the customers, etc. But really exercises like this allowed us to map the market, to really understand who the key stakeholders are, who are our potential customers, who are we developing the technology for, what is the kind of customer that we have in mind, is it a technically skilled person, is it a layman? And what exactly are the value propositions that we have for the customer? So things like business personas, to really visualize them, things like Canvas. I also mentioned value proposition. And like technically, in terms of reporting and meetings, I remember that we have a lot of meetings with Joao, which helped us a lot to really focus on the things that matter most and to steer the project in the right direction. I think, well, there was some administration that we need to deal with, but, you know, I can't really remember what it was. So it's probably a good sign, because there's not a lot of administration involved. So you can focus all your energy in developing something marvelous based on AI. And of course, I mentioned visibility. So I'm traveling to these conferences like Dubai, the World Exhibition, like the events in Helsinki, the Web Summit at Lisbon. And here is on the right-hand side, there's me with the Moomin that ended up with my friend's daughter. So, you know, this is all like fun and games, but what's really important here is that, you know, after this, we had a lot of companies approaching us, asking about our technology. We had a few business deals after this one. And it really makes a difference when you say that there were 184 European AI startups with novel technologies, and we came up with a prize there. So it really validates the success of your project and the value of your technology. So I would maybe stop here, and that would be everything from my side. If you would like to contact me, there's LinkedIn. You've got my name here. I can also give you my email, so Alexander can probably share it with you. And feel free to ask. You know, AI, although there are tons and tons of companies, is still, let's say, a small community of people. And I think that there is a lot of benefit between sharing information, sharing experience. And the playground is enormous, and AI needs to solve a lot of problems. So I don't really see you all as my competition, and I'm probably not your competition, and you're probably not the competition for one another. So I think that this kind of sharing knowledge about algorithms, about business, about calls like this one could really help the European AI ecosystem. So thanks a lot.
Amazing, Oscar. I mean, very, very detailed story, and I think you covered so many points here. I want to somehow build up and wrap up what you're saying and to give people an insight. So this was an example of someone coming from a research perspective and maybe to an extent an early stage startup. However, they have succeeded to compete against much bigger ones. And this is an indication that early startups can be as successful and as competitive. However, I do want to indicate that our value proposition of the 11-month program is also appropriate for the later stage one who are already on the market, and all the things from the program that offers are very interesting. So the money, while it is obviously a motivating factor, I think the mentorship, the tools, the access to data providers, the events themselves provide unbelievable value that they need to be taken into account beyond simply the money received. So from this perspective, there's so much more, and we invite you to explore. So with this in mind, let's jump into the Q&A and try to close this in time. Thanks, Oscar, again. And yeah, so I'll go one by one with the questions. I'll read them out loud. I'll try to answer some. For others, I do invite my colleagues to answer them in it. So first question, and sorry if I butcher your name or your company's name, but I'm trying to rush this as well. So from Rafael, we Data Nation. We have to be a legally founded entity to be selected by the program. So yes, it has to be in EU member states or Horizon Europe associated countries. From Phalix Tribology, is there a track that looks specifically for data producers? We need funding to create data in our sectors. So no, the concept of Reach is to establish a collaboration between a startup, which is a tech provider, and a SME or a corporate who is a data provider. So yeah. So from Lampros, is one person SME established in EU having a PIC number also eligible to participate in Reach? So eventually we require all the startups to have the PIC number. So this is the way the EU tracks all the SMEs receiving the money. So this is a prerequisite. Which do you prefer, early stage startups or established startups? From Zyzon? As previously mentioned, so both startup type of startups are accepted and able to and eligible to apply. Will we have access to that presentation? Yes. Can we apply when we have been funded by the EBI? Yes. Let's see. Toolbox is very interesting, but not all challenges. I'm only referring to track them might need it. Is it penalizing not to use the toolbox in the application? No. So you can apply without using our toolbox. However, we would really appreciate if you would attempt to use it in a certain way. Moving on. So track one is more challenging, and this is by Yagmore. Track one is more challenging than track two as it requires multiple challenges to be addressed, whereas track one, only one challenge is expected to be solved. So this is, you have interpreted this wrong. So track one has sub challenges. Well, some track one challenges have sub challenges, but an applicant needs to answer only one of those sub challenges. And picking a track one over track two, in my particular opinion, I think you need to look forward to finding one that is appropriate for your own business development and that goes along with your tech and business strategy, rather than trying to squeeze one in just for the sake of squeezing one in. From Lampros, if a participant intends to solve a challenge and comes with a tool set that does not belong to Reach Toolbox, can this be a drawback? So no, we accept other tools to be used as well. From Yagmore, are the participants provided with a platform to reach out and contact the challenge providers at the current initial application phase? So you can reach to us via open call at reachincubator.eu. requesting for us to put you in contact with the data provider if you have additional questions, and we're happy to do that. However, please do not wait until the last moment, because it takes time for this to happen, and it won't be used for you if you do it in the last week. It's simply, you know, the way it goes. Can we get the later links to the presentations? So you will receive all the presentations in an email today. Can you allocate more to track 3 than 20%? So this was in the guidelines for applicants indicates the distribution or an estimate around how many applicants will be coming from each track. And I must say that this is a guide for us, but should the evaluation indicate particular strengths in one, we might consider this. But this is something, the rules that we're currently playing with. Who owns the IPR solutions for the challenges? By Martin. Great question. So startups own the IP rights of their solution, and the data providers own the data. Should you guys decide on taking this further, this is on you to decide how is it gonna continue. But the startup continues having their own solution, and the company owns the data. So similar questions from Statis. I hope this was asked, but if the data provider, industry provider wants to use the final product commercially, can producer ask for reimbursement? I'm not quite sure what you mean by reimbursement, but the way this is set up is the startup is the owner of the application, and the grant is given to the startup. What you do with the grant, we do not follow the invoices, we don't follow how you spend the money, and we would hope that by the end of the program you will develop a solution so interesting to the data provider that they'll be willing to continue working with you beyond our project. Hopefully commercially that will be very beneficial to you. This session will be uploaded somewhere. So, yes, so we will be sending you the presentations in PDF, and the YouTube video will also be posted and shared online. Have I addressed all the questions? I hope so. Please let me know in the chat if I may have missed your question, or if I have not answered it clearly, or if any of my colleagues want to add something on my answers. Now this is the time. No? Okay, this was a very efficient Q&A session. With this in mind, if there are no more other questions, I'll wait for a few more seconds, and then we'll close it for today. Okay, there's a question. So regarding assessment of proposals, are all challenges equal? So yeah, there are questions coming in. Okay. So all the challenges are equal. There is an aspect that we are accepting more applications coming from a particular track, and I do invite you to look into the guidelines for this. So I can't remember off the top of my head. Give me a second. So track 1, 40%. Track 2, 40%, and track 3, 20%. But this is a ball figure, which may go up and down depending on the quality and the interest of the applicants. All right, so there's a question I asked regarding the number of data sets that participants must use. Thank you for reminding me. So to be eligible, you need to use 1. However, I do really recommend to understand that we are trying to establish data value chains. And for data value chain, it requires a multiple stakeholder data workflow, indicating that multiple data sets are recommended to be used. So to recap, one data set is enough. Multiple data sets is recommended and would be very much appreciated. Okay, as regarding the number of dates, yes, so I've just answered this. Violetta Damjanovic, do you have any other questions? Or have I answered yours? So there's a question from Satis. Could you please elaborate on the assessment criteria? What are the assessors are looking for? I do invite Leira and Iñaki to answer this, but you can also see this in the guidelines for applicants. But Leira and Iñaki, please address this question. So please elaborate on the assessment criteria. What the assessors are looking for? I'll post it in the chat as this was directly sent to me. Leira, Iñaki? You here?
Yeah, okay. I'm good to answer this question. As basically, you have to take into account that, as Oscar explained, solutions must to be developed from both sides, okay? From the technical one and from the business one. So that means that the team must be strong also in both sides, okay? This is one of the criteria we will be evaluating. There are also criteria regarding the knowledge you have, okay, about your competitors, the percentage of let's say the team, how much time, okay, they will be dedicating to the development of the proposal. So it's more or less these are the apart from the quality, of course, of the solution and how much it is solving or addressing the challenge you have selected. In general, these are the main criteria we will be taking into account.
Cool, thank you. Worth mentioning for early stage startups, it is highly recommended that you have more than one person in your team, as this will definitely strengthen the team behind it. So this would be one thing that you should take full attention. And I will post the guidelines for applicants in the chat as well, but you have that on the open call page as well. So give me a second. Here it is. You can there see there's this evaluation process, chapter 6. There you can also see aspects that we are looking for as well. But so technical approach, business, and team are the three aspects looked into. So if there are no more questions, we're gonna call it a day right on the spot of 1 hour and 30 minutes. So thank you, everyone. I hope you found